Welcome to the Subcontractor Management Plan training. Since liability can come back to your company after a safety incident, it is important to know that the subcontractors on your site have high standards when it comes to workplace safety. Knowing that your subcontractors are safety conscious will help make your job site safer. Not only that, all workers at your site will be a reflection of your company, regardless of where they get their paycheck. The Subcontractor Management Plan training has been designed for managers and supervisors like you who interact with subcontractors on the worksite. It will cover the safety qualifications your company should require of your subcontractors and the effective subcontractor management practices that you will need to implement to prevent worksite accidents. Your role as a manager or supervisor requires you to assist in the prevention of safety and health hazard exposures for all workers on your site, whether they are company employees or subcontractors. Careful subcontractor selection and a subcontractor management plan can help you avoid many safety issues before they arise. This training will focus on two main topics: how safety-conscious subcontractors are selected by your company, and how you can ensure continued safety on your worksite once suitable subcontractors have been chosen. Let's begin with the subcontractor selection process. Before deciding on a subcontractor, it is your company's responsibility to review the safety efforts made by any potential subcontractors. This should normally be done through correspondence between your company's administrative personnel and those of the subcontractor. All subcontractors with whom your company may work should be pre-qualified by a thorough review of their company's safety metrics. Metrics are the measures that should be used to evaluate and analyze the performance of a potential subcontractor safety program. Raw or unprocessed safety metrics for a subcontractor's safety commitment include whether they can provide documentation of the following: a written safety program, safety training and/or certification, safety meetings, job site inspections, enforcement policy and procedures, a demonstration of management's commitment to safety, a demonstration of the subcontractor's ability to do the type of work for which they are being hired, for example, insurances, licenses, and equipment, or the ability to rent equipment. While the ability to adequately document the above could be considered a commitment to safety, unfortunately it does not indicate, in and of itself, whether safety procedures are followed on the work site. A better assessment of a subcontractor's safety commitment would be their acceptable safety metrics. Acceptable safety metrics are processed, measurable safety indicators and include the following calculated rates. An experience modifier rate, or EMR, is the rate used to calculate a company's workers' compensation insurance premium. It is based on the insured's historic loss and payroll data and calculated by an advisory organization or rating bureaus such as the National Council on Compensation Insurance. A recordable incident rate, or RIR, is a mathematical calculation that describes the number of employees per 100 full-time employees that have been involved in an OSHA recordable injury or illness. A total recordable incident rate, or TRIR, describes the RIR for any given time frame. It includes medical treatment, restricted duty, job transfer, and days away, but excludes first aid and close calls incidents. A days away, restricted duty, job transfer rate, or DART, describes the RIR that resulted in lost or restricted days or job transfer due to work-related injuries or illnesses. It excludes medical treatment, first aid, and close calls. The value of this indicator is for case management evaluation purposes, meaning return to work on restricted basis is good versus staying out until 100% healthy again. The days away case rate, or DACR, is equal to the DART except that it doesn't include restricted duty and job transfer. In order to evaluate a potential subcontractor's acceptable safety metrics, your employer should ask them to provide documented evidence of their most current rating and the previous 2 years' ratings for each of the following safety indicators: Their designated OSHA total recordable incident rate with NAICS code. Their OSHA days away, restricted duty, job transfer rate with NAICS code. Their experience modifier rate used to calculate workers' compensation insurance. Subcontractors that have a current EMR rating above 0.99 must submit a detailed explanation that addresses any mitigating circumstances that cause their EMR rating to exceed 0.99. This explanation should include any corrective action taken. Each indicator should be considered as one measure of the effectiveness of the subcontractor's safety and health program and as part of the subcontractor evaluation. Based on this data, your employer should select subcontractors with a proven safety record. Once your company has selected safety-conscious subcontractors, a pre-job meeting or safety orientation should be held prior to beginning any work. At this meeting, all safety requirements and protective measures determined appropriate for the job in question should be conveyed to your subcontractors. Your subcontractors should attend all required pre-job meetings and safety orientations. Input and suggestions from subcontractors should be solicited. Attention should also be given to hazards one subcontractor may create and the measures they take to prevent other subcontractors from these exposures. One action that should always be taken is the sharing of appropriate safety data sheet information. After work has begun, subcontractors who are working for you should also attend regularly scheduled documented safety meetings. Safety meetings should focus on different aspects of the safety management program your employer has instituted. This program should provide adequate systematic policies, procedures, and practices that allow subcontractors to recognize job-related safety and health hazards and protect themselves and others from those hazards. The following 4 major elements of safety management should apply to your company's operations, as well as to your subcontractors. Management commitment and employee involvement. Management's commitment provides the motivating force within a company and regards worker safety as a fundamental value of the organization. Employee involvement provides the means by which workers develop and express their own commitment to safety. Hazard analysis. Effective management actively analyzes the work and work site to identify and eliminate existing hazards and to anticipate and prevent harmful occurrences. Hazard prevention and control. Where feasible, workplace hazards are prevented by effective design of the job site or job. Where it is not feasible to eliminate such hazards, they must be controlled to prevent unsafe exposure. Safety and health training. Training helps identify the safety and health responsibilities of both management and employees at the site. An essential component of a subcontractor's training should be job hazard analysis. A job hazard analysis, or JHA, is a technique that focuses on job tasks as a way to identify hazards before they occur. It focuses on the relationship between the worker, the task, the tools, and the work environment. In preparation to perform a JHA, all subcontractors should read OSHA Booklet 3071, Job Hazard Analysis. Using Booklet 3071 and other materials, subcontractors should also be trained in the hazard identification process. When subcontractors have completed their training, the following 6-step process should be familiar to them to identify potential hazards on the site. Step 1 is to assess the workplace and operations hazards. A certificate of workplace hazard assessment should be prepared, signed, and dated by the Personal Protective Equipment or PPE program administrator that indicates a hazard assessment of the job site and methods of operations has been accomplished. This hazard assessment should focus on the need for PPE to protect against hazards that cannot be eliminated through engineering or administrative controls. Step 2 is to inspect the workplace for safety hazards. Because they have insight into the hazards involved, the employees and subcontractors who actually perform job tasks at the workplace should be included in this process. Step 3 is to identify ways to mitigate hazards. In conjunction with employees and subcontractors, ideas to eliminate hazards associated with all routine tasks should be discussed and formalized for inclusion on the JHA. Step 4 is to conduct incident investigations as needed. A review should be made of previous accidents and injuries, as well as near misses, to determine if existing hazard controls are adequate or need improvement. The purpose of an investigation must always be to identify the root cause or causes of the incident or concern in order to prevent future occurrences. Step 5 is to characterize the nature of identified hazards and prioritize the hazards for control. Hazards associated with various tasks are to be ranked. The jobs that possess hazards that present unacceptable risks, based on those that are most likely to occur and have the most severe consequences, should have first priority for analysis. Step 6 is to identify hazards associated with non-routine tasks and emergency situations. Non-routine or infrequent tasks such as maintenance and startup or shutdown activities, as well as emergency situations, present potential hazards that need to be recognized and understood. Special plans and procedures need to be developed for responding appropriately and safely to these hazards. The findings of a hazard analysis are used to eliminate and prevent hazards at the workplace. They are likely to result in fewer worker injuries and illnesses, safer, more effective work methods, reduced workers' compensation costs, and increased worker productivity. The analysis also can be a valuable tool for training new subcontractors in the steps required to perform their job safely. Frequent and routine job site inspection ensure that the identified hazards are continually mitigated. Subcontractors should conduct regular and frequent job site inspections too. They should document these inspections using inspection checklists. Should problems occur or an additional potential risk or hazard is discovered, work must stop until the JHA is adjusted to correct any new deficiencies found. Periodically reviewing a JHA ensures that it remains current and continues to help reduce workplace accidents and injuries. Even if the job is not changed, it is possible during the review process that hazards are identified that were overlooked in the initial analysis, or that new hazards have been created while eliminating others. If an employee's or subcontractor's failure to follow proper job procedures results in a close call, a safety meeting should be held to discuss the situation with all employees and subcontractors who may perform the job to remind them of proper safety procedures. Anytime you revise a JHA, it is important to retrain all employees and subcontractors affected by the changes in the new job methods, procedures, or protective measures adopted. As new processes arise or operations, products, or services change, hazard identification should be modified as necessary. Upon completion of each job, a post-job safety performance review of your personnel, as well as the subcontractor's personnel, should be completed to ensure that all potential deficiencies are eliminated in the future. Your company should go to great lengths to select safety-conscious subcontractors. As a manager or supervisor, you play a key role in leading these subcontractors in recognizing job site hazards and implementing the proper procedures to mitigate those hazards. Through proper training, clear expectations, and open communication with the subcontractors under your management, you can ensure the highest of safety standards are on your site.